So you find yourself in a season of suffering, and you've been in it for a while now, long enough to know one thing clearly: nobody gets it. You've tried talking about it. You've gone to people you trust, looking for something concrete, and what you got back was generic, surface level, 5 minute solutions to problems you've been living inside for years. And you smile, because what else can you do? So you stop reaching out, not because you're proud, but because talking about it doesn't actually change anything. This is just a season you have to get through. No one can carry it for you. So you go quiet. You pull back. You isolate. And somewhere in that silence, if you're honest, you're also angry at God, at the situation, at yourself, because He's pushed you further than you thought you could go. And you're standing at the edge of yourself, wondering how much longer this is supposed to last. But you've made peace with something. You've told yourself, this is just the lonely chapter, the gap between who you were and who you're becoming, the season before the breakthrough. And maybe that's true, but here's the question nobody asks: what if the lonely chapter itself is what's keeping you stuck? Let's talk about it. So I wrote all of this because I'm currently going through this myself. Could probably say for almost 2 years now, I've been in a season where it's just rough. Like, work is just really, really tough. I've started doing my articles, and articles are just tough in general. And I've found myself pushed to the edge, if I'm being honest. And last year was the most difficult, and then this year came along, and this year's been the most difficult. But something I learned last year was, yeah, most people just really don't get it. You go through a season where you're really struggling with something, and you go to people, and you're looking for something. Like, and for me, this was particularly at church. I'd go there. I remember there was this one guy I was speaking to at a small group we had. He had gone through some grief, like serious grief, that I'm like, man, I don't know if I'd be able to retire from that. Recover from that. He had his wife passed away quite early on, and his daughters don't want to speak to him. And for me, I'm like, damn, that's rough. So I speak to this guy. I'm like, this is somebody who gets it, right? He's supposed to get it. He's supposed to understand what it's like to suffer and go through a season where you just, yeah, man, like, it's just rough. It's dark. And I remember speaking to him, and he said, have you thought about giving it to God? And in my head, I was just like, what the hell? What on earth? I'm like, that is just not it. And I just came to the conclusion that people fall into one of two categories, or the people that don't understand and that would kind of frustrate you when you're going through a season of suffering, is either they don't get it. And I found there's a lot of people, they don't understand working, what it's like to be doing articles, to be working like crazy hours, like just relentlessly, and the workplace is just, it's relentless. I don't want to use toxic. There's just a lot of challenges you face in there that people just don't understand. Like, they think you're just going through something, like you're just working a little bit hard, but they don't understand, like, it's relentless. Um, so they either fall into the category of they don't understand what you're going through, or the second one, which you can't really blame people too much for, but that category of people who they're just not invested enough to actually give you proper advice. Because it's like, I'm chatting with this guy for 5 minutes, telling him what I've been going through for the last year or so. And you think what I couldn't come up with in a year, being in this, you can come up with in 5 minutes, and hearing my problems for 5 minutes, it just doesn't work that way, right? And it's kind of like this conversation I was speaking about it. The guy was like, have you tried just giving it to God? People aren't invested enough. Most people aren't. And you can't expect them to, right? You're not going to be invested in every single person's journey or what they're struggling with. And for me, I just came to the conclusion, I was like, man, I don't really want to talk about this with many people. I have a handful, like maybe 2 or 3 people that I want to talk to. But I was like, most people, I'm just not talking about this. I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm fine. Or, work's a bit tough, but it is what it is. But I'm not getting into details with you, because you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it, or you're not going to be invested enough to actually help me. And also, talking about it, I just kind of found doesn't really solve anything. Like I'll appreciate a deep conversation with kind of the two or three people I've that have been helping me through the season, where I'm like, the context, what I'm going through, and there's this bomb that just got dropped on me last week. Let's talk about it for like an hour. You can actually give me some kind of practical advice, but also I just know you understand. But for most people, I'm like, it doesn't fix anything. So why would I talk about it? And I kind of realized in this topic of the lonely chapter,